Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another video tutorial. My name is Peter Trakulits, and today I would like to show you how you could simulate a deflated tire, a tire that has no so much air, so it's getting deformed when it touches the road. So let's go ahead first and make a very simple tire by switching over to the top view here, Shift C so I can center my cursor, and 5 so I can switch over to the orthographic mode. Shift A, hit Shift A, add the mesh plane, and now scale the plane along the x-axis somewhere here. Control R, add 2 loop cuts here, scale them along the x-axis. Alright, now switch to the edge select mode by pressing Control Tab. Now select the two edges, those two edges, and bring them down somewhat. Perhaps scale them along the x-axis somewhat, something like so. Alright, and perhaps add yet another loop cut just here in the middle by left mouse clicking and immediately after right mouse clicking. So now let's give it a nice shape. Now select those two edges here and press Ctrl B and bevel them somewhat. Alright, something like so. Now scroll your mouse wheel so you can add some subdivisions to your bevel. Alright, and give this nice shape here. Now we don't want this part perhaps, and so I'm going to be rubber band select those vertices and X delete the vertices, and now go up here to the modifiers panel and add a modifier mirror to your mesh here. This is going to be the module, the element, the slice of the of our tire. All right. So now let's go ahead, switch over to the top view and start cutting. Bring the knife tool and start making some cuts here. Not something too fancy. We are not going here for the perfect, tire. We're just going to make a very simple all around, shape, something like so, perhaps cut, and you just want to bring your knife tool and start making those cuts here, and all you want to do is to just simulate the the threads of a real tire. Okay, so something like so. And alright, I know there are maybe many different ways for making these threads here, but we just want to stick with a very simple shape for now. Alright, so just make some cuts here and there. And now what we want to do is to if you see some holes here, alright, don't worry about this, because we are going to be fixing that by tabbing into edge select mode. Select those edges here and press F to fill them, all the holes. F to fill them. Alright, F to fill them, and F to fill them. Now, as you can see, there are some end guns here. So in order to fix this thing, alright, it doesn't matter if you leave it as it is, but you can minimize some end guns by just switching over to the vertex select mode and selecting two vertices and pressing J. Press J so you can add a cut those vertices here by pressing J, and so minimize the end guns. So let's minimize some end guns, some end guns here. Alright, we are not going for the perfect shape, just I want to show you the basic idea behind. Alright, you don't have to be extremely careful as for the angles here. It's not going to be deformed really too much the shape. So now let's alright, so now let's go switch over to the face select mode. Select those faces here. Alright, I think this one, perhaps I think this one as well. Alright, and I want to extrude them. Okay, now go down here and from the pivot center here, switch over to the individual origins and press S to scale them along their relative to their individual origins. Alright, and perhaps you would like to add Control B and add a little bevel to your shape. So we have made something like this. Of course, this is a very primitive shape. We can go ahead and smooth out the geometry and also add the modifier and split modifier to the to this tire. Okay. Alright, now what I want to do is to, since I have my basic module or basic slice of my tire, switch over to the top view by pressing 7 on numpad, Shift A, add a curved NURB circle, and now let's scale it up quite a bit, something like so. Control A to apply the scale of the NURB circle now, and now we want to select our slice here. And I want to apply the mirror modifier first. Before that, I want to check clipping. Alright, so I made sure that the neighboring vertices have been merged together. Now apply the mirror modifier. Okay, and now add the modifier array to my slice here, whatever element, this element, and I want perhaps to tab into edit mode and select all the vertices and rotate them along the z-axis by 90 perhaps, but first go down here please and switch over to the median point this time. Rotate along the z-axis 90. Okay, so we have something like this. Okay, alright, now I want to switch over to change the type of the fit type here in the array modifier for fixed count into fit curve, and as an object, as a curve, I am going to be assigning the NURB circle. Okay, now as you can see we have something like this. Okay, and now I want to also go ahead and add another modifier, curve, to my element here, and I want to be assigning also the NURB circle. Now it might be needed now to tab into edit mode, and you want to go ahead first and click on this little triangle icon here, so you can see the modifiers while being in edit mode. Okay, and you haven't selected all the vertices. You might want to rotate them along the x-axis. Alright, something like so. So you give it by 90, minus 90 if needed degrees. So you give it this kind of shape here to your tire. Now all you want to do is to make sure that the relative offset here is exactly set at the value of 1. You want to click on the merge option, very important, so you merge the neighboring vertices, and also click on the first last option so you can also merge those vertices here as well. Now select your NURB circle and start scaling it by pressing S and then hold down Shift. And very important, that's the tricky part here. You want to bring your circle to scale it up or down, and just trying to make those endings here, starting and ending points to merge together. Okay, and that's the tricky part. You need to be very careful here how you. Alright, very slight smooth. Alright, somewhere here I guess it's okay. Of course you can always play with the distance here. Alright, so you might want to add some more first and last point distance here. Now in that case there, where you want to be 100% sure that you haven't you have not any overlapping vertices, you want to work with this while in wireframe mode. So switch over to the wireframe mode. We don't want any overlapping vertex here because we are going to have some problems later on. Alright, it's we're getting there, I guess. So just go ahead now and apply first move down the split modifier by clicking on this arrow here. I will want it to be the last one modifier, and I want also to go ahead and apply the array modifier first, and then the curve modifier. And now let's take a look at the mesh here. If you see some kind of gaps here, you can always switch over to the vertex select mode and you can always go ahead and Alt M merge the vertices at center. So Alt M, merge the vertex at center, Alt M, merge the vertex at center, and this too as well. Alright, and let me see how this looks like. Alright, so merge them. Alright, and of course this too as well. Alright, and well, if you see that you cannot tumble very well around your selection, make sure you have go to the user preferences, and from the interface tab here, enable rotate around selection, this one here. Okay, so enable that, Alt M, merge them at center. Now you should be rotating or tumbling your view around your selected objects or vertices or whatever this could be. Alright, now we have something like so, not bad. Now let's go ahead, select this edge loop and also select this other edge loop and scale them down quite a bit. Shift Z, so just scale them along the XY plane somewhere here. Of course, this is just a a very simple tire. It's intended to be a very simple tire. We just want to select perhaps those two edge loops and Control E, edge slide, bring them somewhere here. Alt S, so you can give it the more bulky look perhaps to your tire. Let me see now. Yeah, of course this one, of course, as well. Control slide, Alt S. Anyways, you can always Control E, and slide somewhere here. Okay, Control E. Of course, you could add a mirror modifier as well, so you can have a more symmetrical, if you prefer, result. Alt S to give a more bulky look. Again, it's a matter of preference, and you can always go ahead and add this kind of look to your tire. Of course, yeah, perhaps I want to scale up a little bit those two loops here and give it a much more nice look. And of course, perhaps I would like to extrude them, both of them, and scale them along the Z-axis somewhat, so I can give them that nice look here. Alright, and you can always go ahead and add much more detail to your tire by by selecting, by cutting, by adding loop cuts and things like that. And always you want to, alright, so something like so. So we are not going for the perfect tire in this in our case, just to have a tire for working with the with our lattice later on. Now this tire is a inflated tire, but what if it was a rather deflated, or a tire without adequate amount of air pressure? So in that case, our tire should be deformed when touching. So if I switch over to the to my side view and I want to rotate my tire around the y-axis by 90 degrees perhaps, okay, and bring this tire somewhere here, and let's say that I don't want this curved nerve circle now, and I wanted to add a mesh plane that would represent the road surface. So now when my tire will be here and without adequate air pressure, okay, it should be deformed due to the gravity. Okay, so somewhere here we should have some kind of deformation. Okay, now let's go ahead and simulate this effect. But first, I want to add a rim to my tire, an alloy rim, something like so, something like that, where my tire should be mounted or attached to. So now what I want to do is to go ahead and add a curve, circle. Let's press period on numpad so I can zoom in to my circle here and give it this kind of shape. Alright, by moving the handles here. Of course, you can always go ahead and bring by pressing N the side panel here, and from the display tab here, go ahead and find where it says overlays, handles and normals, and you can hide both of them if you don't need them, but the handles I think we need them. anyways, and I want to give it this generic shape here. Alright, and now I want to go to the object data for the curve, make it 2D, and add an extrusion to my curve. Okay, so now don't overdo with this, I mean don't go too far with that, something like so, an extrusion. Alright, and I want now to go ahead and shift duplicate my mesh, move it to another layer, and I want to select my initial here, and I want to name it profile. Okay, and I want to press Alt C and convert it to a mesh. Tabulated mode, you can see we have these nasty triangles here. Of course, you can always go to the mesh and select faces. Faces trees to quads, so it kind of tries to eliminate the triangles. Anyways, now tabulated mode, and I want to switch over to the top view, and I want to tabulated mode. Let me first hide the plane behind, so we can see better the grid here. Now I want to switch over to the top view, and I want to make this to go to the center. So Shift S, selection to the cursor. Now press / so that we can isolate our object here, and I want to, of course, bring the cursor to the center as well. Alright, Shift S, selection to the cursor, and now what I want to do is to tabulated mode. Okay, and I want to, having selected all of those, I want to add a spin, a spin to my object. Alright, and I want to make the steps to be about 32 steps. Alright, and the angle from down here to be 360. Okay, I want to make the steps duplicates, of course. I want to change this into duplicate, of course, and now I have made something like so. I want to select all of them, Shift D, duplicate them, and scale them down, Shift G, so I want to make them to scale them only on the XY plane. And alright, I have made something like so, Shift D, duplicate them, scale them down, Shift G, and make a third row of these objects here. So now I have this object now. As you can see, it's pretty complicated, and I want now to go ahead and name this as Boolean rim. Okay, Boolean rim show. Okay, so now what I want to do is to press / so I can bring all the rest of my objects here, and I want for this object, Ctrl+Shift+C, bring the origin to geometry. Now, as you can see, alright, now I want to go to my side view, and I want to select my tire, Shift S, bring the cursor to the selected, Shift A, add the mesh circle, tabulated mode, rotate all the vertices along the y-axis by 90, scale them up quite a bit, alright, somewhere here. And now I want to make my my rim, alright, and I want for my rim to bring them somewhere here, and I want to extrude them, E to extrude, right click to cancel, S to scale them up a little bit. Alright, so I have something like so. Okay, of course you can always play with that. This lip, kind of lip here. I also want to go ahead and add the mirror modifier from the modifier menu along the x-axis, so you can see this shape has been mirrored on the other side as well. So now I'm selecting this loop of vertices, and I want to to just go ahead and extrude them. Alright, and scale them, Shift X, so they don't scale along the x-axis. Alright, scale them down quite a bit, somewhere here. Alright, we're going to be trying to keep this symbol rim. Alright, so add yet another loop and move it somewhere there. Okay, somewhere inside there. And now of course I want to apply the mirror modifier, and I want to tabulated mode, select this loop of vertices, shift this loop of vertices as well, and just go ahead and delete them for the inner side. Okay, and because we don't want this to have, and extrude them along the x-axis somewhere here perhaps, and alright, something like so. For this is going to be a very, very primitive, as I told you before, a kind of rim. Right, and perhaps add yet another. Alright. something like so. Now let's go ahead and select this object here, the profile here. Let's name first this object as a rim. Okay, and now I am selecting the Boolean rim. I am rotating it along the y-axis by 90 degrees. Okay, switch over to the side view, Control A, apply the rotation scale, of course, and now select your tire, Shift S, bring the cursor to select it. Now select this one, Shift S, bring the selection to the cursor. So in a way it is really center it at the tire now. Tab into the mode, select all of them and scale them, but not along the x-axis, or Shift X. Scale them along Shift X and move them, all of them, somewhere here, so they are intersecting with the, as you can see, with the rim. Okay, which is again centered somewhere there. So let's move it somewhere. Origin to geometry, scale them down quite a bit. Okay, and alright, and I want to, anyways, seems they are not perfectly centered, but it's okay. It's just for the tutorial this time, and just, you know, okay, we don't need to be overly precise. Okay, but again, we want to make a Boolean operation now, and it will be always a nice idea for you to do. It will be a good thing for you to do, to always select your object here that is going to be the Boolean operand to the rim object, and let's select all of the faces and Control N, recalculate the normal outside. That's very important for a successful use of the Boolean operator. Of course, the same should be true for the rim as well. Tab into edit mode, select all the faces, Control N, recalculate the normals outside. Now we can safely go ahead and apply the modifier, the Boolean modifier, to our rim object, and select as an operation here difference, and as an object, of course, the Boolean rim object. So now it might take a while. So if I now go ahead and apply the Boolean, so let me apply first the Boolean modifier. It takes a while, of course, and of course this is an alternative to modeling this detail, but alright. I just want to show you how you can achieve the same thing with the Boolean modifier. Whenever you can model, though, just prefer the model option. Okay, so now let's see how this is going to look like after I have moved to another layer this object here. Okay, so now you can see we have this nice detail here, and very nice cut here, as you can see. Alright, of course, yeah, it's not perfect, but okay, for the purpose of our tutorial it worked quite well, quite nicely perhaps. And now what I want to do is to, now that I have my rim here, I want to go ahead. Perhaps you might need it to add yet another modifier, a split modifier to your rim, so you have even better results. And you can see here it didn't work the way we expected anyways. Perhaps, alright, if we try yet another time, that will be will have a nice result anyways. In this case now, though, I'm going to be keeping this result, and I'm going to be also adding a modifier, decimate modifier, to my rim, so I can bring the poly count down to something 0.3 perhaps, and let me see how it works. Alright, it works quite nicely. So apply the edge split modifier and apply the decimate modifier. Of course, now it has a nasty mesh, but we don't care about that. What we care now is about adding this. Let's smooth it out a little bit. Alright, and let's keep it as it is for our tutorial. Okay, but you get the meaning. You can always go ahead and model your rim with much more precision if you have some more time to invest in modeling it. So Shift A now, and now let's go ahead and Shift A, add a mesh plane, which is going to be of course the road surface. Okay, here. Okay, let me give it the name road. This is going to be the road object. Okay, now what I want to do is to go ahead, select my rim, and I want to parent this to an empty, and the empty is going to be the main empty, the one that is going to be moving along the y-axis, okay, and it's going to be rotating, giving rotation, making them rotate around it. So let's go ahead, Shift A, bring the cursor to the selected, and now Shift A, add an empty. Let me give it the name empty plane axis, and let me give it the name to this empty main empty. It's going to be my parent object, and I want to parent my rim to the main empty. So selecting my rim, I'm going to down here to the object menu and parent field. Where it is the parent field, I'm selecting the main empty. Don't worry about this. Of course, you can always go ahead and Shift S, bring the selection to the cursor. So no worries about that. So now I'm going to be parenting the tire now to the rim. So I'm selecting the tire, Shift selecting the rim, and Shift selecting the rim object, and Control P object, but keep transform. Of course, I want to check the tire that it has, as you can see from the field down here, as parent it has the rim as it parent. So now what I want to do is to go ahead and add a Shift A lattice object, and this lattice object is going to be the deformer for my tire. Scale it up quite a bit along the y-axis perhaps, and also along the z-axis, and scale it up and place it in such a way that it kinda is wrapping around this tire here. Alright, so let's scale it along the x-axis as well. Switch over to the side, to the front view, excuse me, and bring it somewhere here. Alright, you can always find the right that works for you, the right scale that works for you. Alright, somewhat like so. Okay, and I want to go to the lattice properties here panel, and I want to give it yet another subdivision, yet another loop for the V and for the W direction. So I have made something like this. If you don't like the tire seems to be really slim, a slim tire, so that's just go ahead, select all of those, and you could always go ahead and scale them. But for our tutorial, we're okay with the way it is for the moment. So now, after I have added the lattice object, I'm going to go to select my my tire, and I want to add to my tire a lattice modifier. Okay, so go ahead and add a lattice modifier, and this lattice modifier is going to have as an object lattice, the lattice object, this one. Now I'm going to be selecting my lattice object and the vertices, those vertices down here, and I'm going to be scaling them, alright, in such a way that, as you can see, we have this nice effect here. Okay, so now, as you can see, and let me tell you a trick about this this tire here. Alright, as you can see, now we have the deflated tire. Let me tell you a trick about the sharp edges of this tire that I want to show you. As you can see, only those edges are sharp. How can you do this? Alright, you keep them smooth, those edges here, and you have sharp those edges here. So let me show you how you can do this. First, select all of them and Control E, mark smooth. Clear sharp, I want to say, excuse me, clear sharp for your tire, but you want those edges, only those edges in the teeth, okay, to be sharp. How you can do this? So tab into edit mode, and first select those edge loops here, alright, on the side of the tire, okay, on the walls of the tire, and now go ahead and select, let's say, one face here. Oops. Shift select this face and go down here where it says mesh, and select, excuse me, or not mesh, select flat faces, and you have immediately, as you can see, by scrubbing the slider here, you can adjust the threshold. Alright, and you can keep adding by Shift right clicking, add another face from this part, not from the teeth of the tire, from this part, and again select link flat faces until you have selected all of those faces you want to keep smooth. So select lick flat faces. Alright, as you can see, we're almost there. Shift this one, select lick flat faces, or Shift Control Alt F, the shortcut. So when you're happy with your selection, and of course those here as well, those few, select Shift Control Alt Shift F, excuse me. Alright, now you want to press Control I, invert the selection, and now you want to switch over to the edge select mode, and you want to assign all those edges as sharp. So Control E and mark sharp. Now as you can see, we have made them sharp, and while at the same time we're keeping the sides, the walls here of the tire as smooth. Alright, so we have made something like so. Now let's have a look at how this is behaving. That how this behaves now. If I go ahead and select my empty, which is my main empty. By the way, let's go up here to the properties of the empty and give it a size of, let's say, 14 perhaps, or 10, I don't know, something like so. And I want to move it up and down. You can see that the tire and the rim follow the movement. Let me show you. Alright, so, and you can see from this view here that both that my tire is getting deformed. Of course, this is not a physically correct perhaps deformation, but it works. It will work just fine for little bumps, okay, of the road, okay. And now this is good for static, deformation. But what about if I wanted my tire to move and rotating, and I want to have this deformation as well while having animated my tire? This is why I want to go ahead and add to my lattice go select your lattice and go to the constraints menu and add the constraint. We are going to be adding two constraints, a copy location, and as an object for the copy location constraint, I'm selecting the main empty. As you can see, my lattice has been moved, but don't worry, because I'm checking this Z location axis. I don't want this to copy the location of the empty along the Z axis. There's no reason for that. And also I want to add I think we're okay with this. And now if you move the main empty, you can see that the lattice is following the position of the tire. At the same time, if you rotate the tire, let's rotate the tire, you can see that rotate along the x-axis, you can see that the tire is nicely being deformed. Look at that, as this part of the tire is entering the area that the lattice is being controlled by the lattice. Then this part of the tire is being deformed. All right, so which makes for a really nice and very realistic simulation of the deflated tire. Now what next thing I want to do is that I want to make the empty, all right, to assign some drivers to the empty and to the rim. So why as my empty is moving, along is being translated along the y-axis, at the same time the rim will be rotating around the local x-axis. So that's why I am selecting my rim, okay, here, and I'm splitting my window here. I'm bringing the graph editor, and the graph editor has if you go ahead and click on this selector here, you can switch over to the drivers, and it has a drivers menu here. For the moment nothing has been assigned, so that's why I'm selecting my rim, and I'm pressing N and bringing this side panel here, and where it is the transform panel here, equally you can go up here to this little cube icon, and you can work with the rotation here. I want to go to the X rotation, this field here, and I want to right click and select add single driver. Now my rim is going to be rotating. Is going to get rotated relative to the driver that I have added, but I have to configure first the driver. So that's why you can see over here a new driver has been added for the X Euler rotation of the rim. and I'm pressing N while hovering my mouse over the graph editor, pressing N, and you can see these options here for the driver. So first I'm changing the type into an average value, and I want to select a transform channel property to be controlling the rotation of the rim. And this transform channel is going to be the Y location property of the animated empty, main empty. So I'm selecting as my object the main empty, alright, and I'm changing the type, the dependency if you prefer, to Y location. So now as I'm selecting my main empty and I'm rotating it, you can see that my rim and therefore my tire that is parented to the rim are both moving. But a few things we have to notice here. First of all, I don't have a nice rotation. It's very quick rotation, and so that's why I want to work a little bit. Let's select your rim and go here and work a little bit with the value of this polynomial, expanded polynomial generator modifier that we have added. It is added by default, and by scrubbing the slider to where it write X here, and by setting another value, let's say 0.5, you can see that the rim is rotating differently this time. It's rotating more slowly, so you can kind of control the pace, if you prefer, or the ratio of the relationship between the Y location of the empty and the X rotation of the rim. So a value of 0.5, that would be better, because now we have also, while I'm moving forward, the main empty forward, and now the rim is rotating in a nice realistic way. Let me maximize by pressing Shift space bar the window. So as I'm pressing GY, you can see that my tire is moving as well, and as you can see from this angle here, as I'm moving the main empty, this part of the tire that is entering the area that is being controlled by the lattice, this area is being deformed real time, so that makes for a nice and very nice realistic simulation of the deflated tire. So that was our tutorial for today. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned something from this. If you like this, don't forget to subscribe. See you next time, hopefully soon, with another hopefully interesting topic. Until then, have fun and goodbye.